Hey everyone, what's going on? Needs more drums back in Farming Simulator 22, and today we're going to take a look at the new SimTask FarmStick from Thrustmaster. So right off the bat, this has tons of functionality, really puts you in the game. It's very, very immersive if you want that extra little touch of realism. The build quality is actually quite good, and the price is not bad either, only 90 bucks, and it was also just on sale for $10. So if you're looking at grabbing this at any point, if it's in stock, go ahead, give it a look, and I promise you won't regret it. So what do you get with the farm stick? This mount is actually sold separately. I'll throw a link to that in the description, but it was, pretty cheap, and just got it from Amazon, and it's actually quite durable as well. But the farm stick actually comes with a ton of functionality. So you get a total of 3, 6, 9, 12 buttons that you can program to anything, and I'll throw a control diagram up in a little bit of what the buttons, how I've programmed them, because they're actually not the same as out of the box. And you also get, these 6 buttons up here, these 2 little, I guess you can call them sticks or buttons, whatever you want to call them. This little axis that you can use, to move the camera around. You get this wheel that also has a click functionality, so it's kind of dual functioned. And then you get these buttons here, these 2 buttons here, a nice engine start button, and on the back there's actually 2 triggers as well. So there's quite a lot of functionality packed into this small piece of equipment. And what's even better is that this button here is actually an alternate function. So not only do you have 12 buttons, you actually have 24 functionalities. By pressing this and then pressing any one of these 12 buttons, you actually can access a secondary function. So out of the box, this is advertised as plug and play. You could see that there's some functions that it says it does, and some of them are true, but most of them are not. When I plugged it in for the first time, I was actually a little bit confused about what everything did and how it worked. So it took a little bit of digging, but I eventually just ended up clearing a lot of the button functions and reprogram them myself. So I'm going to throw that up on the screen, and we'll kind of walk through what I've done. So as you can see, all of the buttons on the left are kind of more pertinent to my vehicle, and the buttons on the right are more pertinent to my tools. So you'll see I have like my headlight functions, 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, and 6. Those are all kind of my primary functions. And then if I were to press Alt, I have some secondary functions like toggling my steering mode, my work mode, sprayer rate, which I think is only relevant for precision farming. But either way, I can toggle some different things on the vehicle like that. And then on the right, it's more geared towards some of my tools. So I have like my attach and detach, dumping, unloading, loading and unloading, toggling the tip side of a trailer, tension belts, unloading covers, bale sizes, seed types, things like that. So all more related to tools. And these buttons here I actually don't have on the control screen, so I apologize, but these are default to program to change between vehicles. That's the default programming for them. However, I do prefer to have it change tools, because I find that I don't change vehicles too often, like at least not as often as I change between tools. So I actually went ahead and made the primary function as switching between tools, and then the alternate function by holding this down and pressing these, that will switch between vehicles. So those are those buttons out of the way. Oh, also these are turn signals, left and right. Those are actually default plug and play functions, and I like that, so I kept that on there. And then you have your start engine function right here. And on the joystick, you get a few different functions. So like I mentioned, there is a work mode and a drive mode. If you press this trigger, the light is orange, meaning that it is in drive mode. And if you press it again, it is in work mode. So what does that mean? If we're in here in our tractor, let's go ahead and start it up. And so currently we will start off in drive mode. So in drive mode, this is used to move the camera around. This is used to adjust your cruise control speed. You can see on my speedometer there, it's going up and down. And then these are actually used for your gears. So you can go between your different gear ranges with the left stick here. Well, actually, I take that back. You go through your individual gears with the left stick here. So as you can see, I'm going up just one by one, and then I'm going to go down one by one. And what I can also do here, but not in this tractor particularly, but some tractors have a high, medium, and low range, and so this would change those. So you'll have like, if you're in high range, Then you can go between like 1, 2, 3, and 4 within your high range, and then you can switch to your medium range and go through 1, 2, 3, and 4 in your medium range, etc. So that's what these functions are in drive mode. So now if I switch to work mode, these functions are a little bit different. So this is actually used to zoom in and out. This does the same thing, just rotate the camera around. These actually relate to crane arms, extending and retracting, and then raising and lowering secondary crane arms. So they're not relevant in a tractor as much as like something like a telehandler or a forestry equipment. They're really, really useful. But then these buttons here are fantastic. So pretty self-explanatory. This button is to power on your tools. The middle one is to raise and lower your tool. These arrows change your driving direction from forward to reverse. You can see there I'm going between my gear ranges there. And then functions F1 and F2 are just for your additional tool functions. Those are different depending on the tool. And then this last one here on the right is to fold and unfold your tool. So looking here at this sprayer, this is a good one to show some of these different functionalities. If I press this, the tool will begin to unfold. And then I can actually, with sprayers, you can actually raise and lower the sprayer with one of the functions as well. So here, for example, is this stick, raising it up and down. Actually, I can change the height of my sprayer depending on my crop type. I don't think that has any functionality in the game other than just aesthetics and realism, but you know, very, very cool feature nonetheless. And then if I wanted to power on my tool, I'll just press that button there. See, I was turn it on and I'll turn it off. And then to raise and lower, I have this button here in the middle. And another thing too, if I throw on my controls here, you could actually see that there's a width adjuster on this particular sprayer. So again, if I look at my control schemes, I can actually change the work width of my tools by pressing this button, the Alt function button, and then my button 2, which I've programmed to change my work width. So there you go, I can go between the different work widths as well. And again, if I don't press this Alt button and I just press 2, I believe this is my front work lights. Yep, there we go. So again, you have 24 different button functionalities just by pressing this this alternate button. So you have a ton of freedom to program them as you wish, and I just did something that worked for me. So now I want to show you guys some combine specific tools as well. This works for combines. It's really, really cool. So let's go ahead and jump in there. All right, so again, in the combine, just gonna start it up. And now I can fold and unfold my combine by pressing, let me see, this button here. Sorry, I'm still getting a little bit used to this. There's a lot of buttons to get used to. And now if I want to unfold and fold my header, I can simply switch my tool, which I've programmed to this tractor icon here. And now I can unfold my header separately. And I've also programmed a button to toggle my my pipe in and out. So we can do that by pressing this button here. You can see it extends, and then I can retract it as well. Then if I want to raise and lower my header, I could use the raise and lower button here in the middle. Now it'll be lowered, and then if I wanted to turn it on, simply press the power on button. And there we go. Ready to harvest some weeds apparently. But yep, there we go. That is pretty much a good idea of the functionality for harvesters. And now the last thing that I want to show you is the telehandler, because it is literally so much easier to work with telehandlers and wheel loaders with the FarmStick. One of the main reasons why I got it. So let's go ahead and jump in and I'll show you guys some of those abilities. All right, here we are in our telehandler. Once again, we'll just turn it on with the button there. And since we are in work mode, signified by the white light, we have full control of our telehandler arm. So we can pull this back to raise it, push it forward to lower it, tilt it up and down using the left and right functions there. And for this case, turning it just by itself doesn't actually do anything, but some tools, you know, will have the ability you can do this as well and access another axis. But in this case, we're actually going to, I believe it is, yeah, to open and close the manure fork or any kind of tool that has an open and close function, like a bucket or something like that, if you press the second trigger and then go from left to right, you can actually access that function. So again, we just have a ton of versatility. This second trigger, you know, gives you different access functions. So depending on the tool, it may or may not have that different function enabled. But yeah, so that's just some of the things that you could do with the Telehandler. And again, here's a demonstration real quick of the extension and retraction of the arm that we can do with this top stick here. Just with my thumb, you know, moving this forward and backwards and extending this Telehandler arm and retracting it. So again, very, very smooth. I feel like, you know, the sensitivity on this farm stick is just absolutely perfect. You know, you get a nice, very smooth operations there. And yeah, being as someone who has actually driven, you know, bobcats and things and controlled them in a similar manner, this is actually pretty good for the price point. You know, it's obviously it's a little bit smoother than maybe you would find in an actual piece of equipment, but for the sake of being in a game, it is pretty nice. So if you're thinking about picking one up for Farm Sim, I would say go ahead and do it. The only caveat to that is feel free to program the functions as you see fit. I don't think the plug and play programming was really that great. And also it's not exactly what it says as advertised based on some of the button program ads that I have seen. So just be warned that you may have to do some customization, but overall I really like it, and I'm actually happy with how I've set mine up anyway. I think it's a little bit more practical for the game. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one, and stay tuned for some more Farming Simulator content. Peace out, have a great rest of your week. See ya.